my word on this matter. Let me also begin by thanking the Honorable Duale for raising the issue, because, as he indicated, it's quite a substantive matter that needs your very considered guidance, Honorable Speaker. But I want to identify myself more with what has been said by the Honorable Member for Ugenya, that indeed what the court was doing was creating a clear distinction between the repeal of the Constitution and constitutional amendments. And I think what we are involved in with the legislative bills before the House are actually amendments to the Constitution and not a repeal of the Constitution. Honorable Speaker, I've also listened, and quite a number of the honorable members have tried to belabor the point that the courts may have erred. And I'm not saying that the courts are angels, that they cannot make mistakes. They could make mistakes, and that is why we have the Supreme Court, and the parties involved in this matter still have the right and the opportunity to converse the issues that are before the courts, or that were before the High Court and the Court of Appeal in the Supreme Court. Honorable Speaker, my own reading and understanding of that judgment, and especially on the doctrine that has been raised on the basic structure, and I just want to join Honorable Mbadi by saying that I'm not a lawyer, but like him, being an accountant and an intelligent Kenyan, as he said, we are able to read and decipher what basically forms the basic structure of a constitution, or even the basic structure of a building like this, Honorable Speaker. And it is those things that hold a structure like this, even this chamber together, Honorable Speaker. The pillars that hold this structure together is what the Constitution is, or the doctrine is calling the basic structure. That there are those particular pillars that the judges have identified, and we do not need to say that they're importing things from India, Honorable Speaker, because everything has its own basic structure. And even our Constitution, Honorable Speaker, I want to identify with the judges that it has a basic structure that holds the country and the Constitution and our republic together. And Honorable Speaker, if you listen to the judges, they mention particular things, Honorable Speaker, that they spoke to. And those things, Honorable Speaker, listening to Justice Musinga, the President of the Court of Appeal, he, for instance, gave the example of the question that Kenyans voted on in 2010. And he asserted that Kenyans chose and elected to have a pure presidential system. And therefore, if you are to touch on the system of governance and move from a pure presidential system to a hybrid or a parliamentary or some mongrel sort of system of government, then you are touching on the basic structure that Kenyans elected to govern them in 2010, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to avoid the temptation that I have seen with a number of my colleagues to condemn the judiciary, Honorable Speaker, and the courts because of their ruling. Honorable Speaker, I want to say that it is not the courts, Honorable Speaker. It is not the judiciary. It is the 2010 Constitution that is protecting and fighting for itself. The judges are only re-emphasizing that Kenyans elected a constitution where we sought to have the independence of the judiciary. Kenyans elected to have an independent legislature. And Kenyans elected that at no time, Honorable Speaker, should we introduce an ombudsman that will interfere with the independence of the judiciary. And Kenyans elected to have a free and independent legislature that the executive will not capture, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, when the Constitution protects the legislature from the executive capture and state capture, Honorable Speaker, we cannot blame the judiciary. We cannot blame the courts. We can only laud the 2010 Constitution, Honorable Speaker. And I want to ask, even as you make your considered ruling, Honorable Speaker, to look at those basic things, the question of the independence of the judiciary, independence of the legislature, and the Bill of Rights, because those are the issues, if you listen to the judges, they were speaking to, Honorable Speaker. If you dwell your considered ruling on that, Honorable Speaker, you may find that many of the amendments that we have before the House, Honorable Speaker, we do not need to refer to the judiciary, as been said by other members. We do not need to ask anybody for permission to amend. But if anybody, whether you are a president or the people's president or whoever you think you are, you cannot interfere with the independence of the judiciary, the legislature. You cannot interfere with the Bill of Rights of Kenyans, Honorable Speaker, and the Constitution will fight and protect for itself, Honorable Speaker. And I want to beg that even as you consider your ruling, Honorable Speaker, to look at those three issues on the independence of the judiciary, the Bill of Rights, the independence of